The best season of the year is here, and with it comes the autumn Steam sale. And so I've gathered 15 great games, mainly strategy and tactics games, but with the occasional RPG thrown in, all at a very low price. So let's begin. For our first game, let's start with one of my favourites, Dead State. This is a turn-based tactics game set in a zombie apocalypse, made in the same engine as Age of Decadence. You must fight your way through hordes of zombies while managing the supplies and resources of your community, as well as the various colourful personalities within it. Overall, as I said, one of my favourite zombie games ever made, and a great tactics experience overall. For our second game, we have Divinity Dragon Commander. This is an RTS/turn-based strategy/third-person action game, a real mashup of genres. You move your armies around on a Total War style map and then engage in real-time RTS battles. The twist is you can actually summon yourself into the battle as a dragon and actively take part in the fighting. On top of that, you also have to make various political decisions which affect your relationship with each of the races. You also have to decide which race you're going to marry, with a choice of 4 different possible wives. Overall, a very interesting game with lots of ideas all cobbled together. If you have an interest in strategy games and haven't already played Original, you're doing yourself a disservice. This RTS about Americans and Russians transporting themselves to the ancient past in order to fight over resources there as well as in the future. This game is filled with unique ideas. One of the biggest ones is that you can't produce units. Instead, you have a finite group of humans from the future who you can switch roles between soldiers, engineers, scientists, or builders. As you have such a finite team of unreplaceable units, a single loss can be catastrophic. Overall, a great game, and a cult classic for a reason. Next up, we have Massive Chalice, a turn-based XCOM-like, where you must defend your land against increasing incursions by various monsters, while at the same time managing and breeding the heroes that defend your kingdom. You give them keeps to rule and assign them breeding partners. The game takes place over 500 years, so you're not going to be able to use the same characters from start to finish. Instead, you'll have to create their descendants to defend the kingdom. Can you breed the ultimate incestuous bioweapon? A pretty by-the-books XCOM-style game, but the idea of losses being inevitable more so due to morality than anything else, and having to make sure you have a next generation ready to take up the mantle is an interesting spin on the genre. Here we have Survivalist, a top-down, but also with a camera pointing at your face, action RPG with some strategic elements. You must build a community out in the desert to survive the zombie apocalypse, gathering food and water as well as recruiting survivors and completing quests. On top of that, the game is totally co-op. You can invite other players and they can join as members of your community. You can also set different survivors' commands. For example, setting people with good marksman skill as guards, or setting people with low overall skills as corn slaves who do nothing but grow corn forever. A really great game, really fun to play, and even better when played cooperatively. Next up, we have Space Pirates and Zombies, a top-down shooter with some strategic elements. You go into battle accompanied by your fleet, which you can fully customize and change, as well as switch between on the fly during battle. As you fight enemy ships, you can kill them and steal blueprints, allowing you to recreate their own ships for yourself. It's almost as if you're the zombies all along. Well, no, there are actually zombies in this game. You also have to fight them, and they'll attempt to steal your ships and zombify them, turning your own ships against you. Definitely a good recommendation if you're looking for something more action-orientated in the tactics/strategy sphere. Next we have Othercide, a turn-based tactics game where turns are measured in time units. You kill enemies, gather resources, and use those resources to birth more daughters, who in turn kill more enemies in some sort of infinite cycle of suffering. In a monochrome world where the only splashes of colour are your daughters' scarves and the blood they shed. On top of all that, one of its main gimmicks is the idea that daughters cannot heal passively. Instead, you have to sacrifice higher level daughters to heal lower level ones, creating a system where you burn your higher level, highly damaged daughters to impart some of their strength to your lower level ones. A pretty great tactics game, but lacking in the strategic department, but which may be a plus to some people who just want to focus on tactics. For our next game, we have Ancestors' Legacy, a real-time strategy game about various European conflicts, at 8 campaigns with 5 missions each for a total of 40 missions, as well as 4 playable factions. There's a lot of content to enjoy here. I will say that this game is very focused on the combat side of RTS. If you're looking for more of a city builder sort of experience, this game won't be for you. But if you're looking for an RTS with lots of unit abilities and upgrades, as well as lengthy campaigns, and rather brutal setting, then this game could definitely be appealing. Here we have Godless Tactics, A very unique game, set in the post-apocalypse, 3 factions vie for power, and you are a single individual with your own squad. You travel around a massive map fighting in turn-based Fire Emblem-style battles, while literally hundreds of allied and enemy armies do the exact same thing. Cities you take can be handed over to your master to control, or your allies, or maybe taken for your own personal control. After all, in such a large conflict, allegiances can be temporary. No other game really has this level of scale. Even games like Mount & Blade Warband don't make you feel like one army amongst hundreds. And the fact that this game was made by a single solo developer makes it even more impressive. I will say though, the battles can become quite samey after a while, but I guess that's what auto-resolve is for, right? Next up we have Darwinia, another absolute classic that if you haven't already played, what exactly are you doing? Darwinia is an action RTS where you control squads of antivirus softwares to fight against viruses, in order to protect the titular Darwinians. You start off only being able to control squads with simple guns, but later on you gain access to a variety of equipment and upgrades, even gaining the ability to transfer the red particles left by viruses into Darwinians. As I said, this is a real classic, but if you're looking for something less action-orientated with an actual economy, then I don't think Darwinia would be for you. Here we have Phantom Doctrine, an XCOM-style Cold War game where you and another shadowy organization vie for control of the world, capture enemy agents and brainwash them into becoming sleeper agents, constantly be moving your base on the world map to avoid being caught, while at the same time constantly blowing up enemy bases, complete evidence boards to find enemy agents and discover their bases, and then fight it out in turn-based tactical battles. Or don't, because this game really emphasizes stealth, and nearly every level in the game can be completed without alerting the enemy. But if you want to go loud, you can. Of course, going loud is a lot harder than doing things stealthily. A pretty great tactics game if you enjoy going slow and steady, but if you're looking for something a little more action-packed and fast-paced, then I can't recommend this game. Next we have freaking Meatbags, an RTS tower defense hybrid. You control a robot who can build and assign jobs, but not much more than that. You require your freaking meatbags to do any actual work, like gathering resources and garrisoning buildings. And of course, like any tower defense, you have to hold off waves of enemy attackers. This creates a pretty good gameplay loop. You use your freaking meatbags to gather resources, which you then use to build buildings and then garrison them with the meatbags. On top of that, you can splice your meatbags together to create horrible abominations. Sure, you could just splice 2 humans together to get another human, but if you splice a human with a 4-armed guy, for example, you can create a human with 4 arms who can gather minerals at 4 times the rate. If you're a fan of tower defense, I definitely think this is a game worth checking out. Next, we have Rebel Cops, a spin-off from the This Is the Police series. Luckily, you don't need to have played those games in order to play this one. Rebel Cops is an XCOM style like turn-based tactics game, where you play as a group of police who have rebelled against the main police force that has become corrupt and is in the pocket of a criminal mastermind. Much like Phantom Doctrine, this game has an emphasis on stealth. Your small group of police officers can rarely win straight-up battles on their own, so using stealth to arrest or kill your opposition is a smart way to play. But unlike Phantom Doctrine, this game is a lot more linear, which could be a positive if you prefer scripted encounters over randomly generated ones. Speaking of spin-offs, we also have Chimera Squad, a very simplified take on the XCOM formula, which focuses heavily on the tactical aspects while omitting a lot of the strategic elements, and focusing on a cast of consistent characters instead of randomly generated ones, as well as being set in a single city. If you found previous XCOMs too long or tedious or too involved, and wanted a game that focused purely on tactical battles, then this game is an easier recommend. I did make a full review of this game, so if you want to know more, maybe check that out. For our final game, I'm going to recommend one quite thematic for the season, that being Shrouded Isles. This is a management and simulation game about running an evil cult. You have to sacrifice members of your cult every season to appease your god, while at the same time managing the fallout from sacrificing members of your community. As the houses therefrom go angry and the various stats of your community go down, it becomes a very precarious balancing act. Though I will say it's quite heavy on the RNG though, but that can be mitigated by your own skill and knowledge. The one your god wants you to sacrifice might not always be the best one for your community after all. I did make a full review of this game, but that was one of my first reviews and is quite dated at this point. But even so, you could check that out if you want to know more. And there you have it, 15 games. I personally played and recorded each of these games on a Windows 11 computer, so if you have concerns about those older titles not working on one hardware, I can at least say I had no problems. Each game ran out of the box essentially when I pressed play on Steam. but of course your mileage may vary. I rarely have technical issues with games, even ones that are notoriously buggy, so either I'm doing something right or doing something wrong and not being able to find these bugs or issues. Either way, thank you for watching. I hope there's at least one game that I've listed here that has caught your interest. Let me know if there is, and if there isn't, let me know so I can try better next time. If you want more games, I also made a video for the Steam Summer Sale, and those games are also on sale here, so maybe check that video out if you want more. For my next video, there's a few demos I want to review. Also, there's a Humble Choice next week, so we have that to be excited for. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.